All right, so I want to transition to some lessons I learned from clients. And I want to start with one of my favorite clients, Isabella. Isabella, when I met her, was 44 years old. Um, Probably about 4 or 5 years before we met, she was in a very emotionally abusive relationship that had caused a lot of trauma to her. So because of that, she'd stopped dating for a number of years, and then she had healed the damage that had been done. And when she came to me, I felt really endeared to her because of what she had went through, and I wanted to be her protector and make sure we got it right this time. So the first thing we did was show her what was possible. And this is such an amazing story. So at that time, I was meeting people in person, the earlier parts of my career. Anyway, we go to Chelsea Market in New York City. And if you're not familiar with it, it's in the meatpacking district. There's just a million people going past each other, checking out, all these restaurants and boutique stores and classic New York City, just a lot of people. Anyway, what we do is we sit her down on a bench, and I wanted to show her that she could have infinite dates and that there's basically an abundance of men for her to date. So I taught her a strategy, and she started implementing, where she would literally just see a guy and she would go like that, wave at them. And then if they saw her, and then she'd be like, come here. And so she'd wave a guy in, and she'd be like, hey, would you like to talk for a bit? So they'd sit down next to her, and she'd do a 10-minute date with them. And then if it went well, she'd say, wow, I wonder what we could do to see each other again. How do we solve that problem? And then these genius New York City men would be like, I know, I'll get your phone number. And she would exchange contact info. If after a few minutes she wasn't feeling it, she'd be like, all right, it was really nice to meet you. And then right after she either got a phone number or decided this person wasn't for her, on to the next. And then about 45 seconds later, come here. She'd be on to date two. And in about an hour and a half, she did, I want to say about 10 dates. So, and then Isabella got 3 phone numbers in about an hour and a half. And so she now realized there was an abundance of men. But her real love story came when we tried to implement my 50-12-1 system on online dating. So what we did was we would send 50 messages to men online saying, hey, want to go on a date? And then on average, 12 would say yes. And then from the 12, we would pick one to go on a date with. And we were going to repeat this 6 to 8 times until she found someone she liked. Well, here comes Nick. She sends the message and Nick says, yeah, I'd love to go on a date. So they go on date 1 and she comes back and reports and I'm like, how'd the date go? She said, well, I'm not attracted to him. I said, okay. How was the conversation on a 0 to 10 scale? She said 10. I'm like, 10? Really? She said 10. I'm like, all right. So what are we going to do? Well, he asked me out again. I'll go. I'm like, great. Comes back from date 2. You attracted to him yet? No. I'm like, okay. Are you going to go out again, or how was the conversation? It was a 10. I'm like, okay. How about date 3? Yeah, I'll go on date 3. You attracted to him yet? No. Date 4. You attracted to him yet? No. Date 5. You attracted to him yet? No. Wow, like we're starting to get there. How's he making you feel? He's making me feel amazing. Like he's planning these unbelievable dates. He's making me feel special. He's like showing up. He's texting me. He's calling me. I love talking to him. He's so smart. Like he's written 10 books and he's a professor in New York. And he's just like a genius and I really admire him. Are you attracted to him yet? No. I'm like, okay. I guess we'll give it a little longer, right? Yep. Date 6. You attracted to him yet? No. Date 7. You attracted to him yet? No. Date 8. comes back. Isabella, are you attracted to him yet? Mike, Nick is the sexiest man alive. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? He kissed me. I felt it everywhere. Wow. So the lesson she learned there is we don't judge on chemistry. We judge on how conversations feel, how the dating feels, and we let chemistry come. All right, and then the other thing we learned from Isabella is it doesn't matter who messages first online. A lot of women like, I want him to message me first. I get that. We want men to chase. We've established over the last 10, 15 years, it doesn't freaking matter. We've been messaging men like crazy. I've sent thousands, if not probably hundreds of thousands of messages with women clients, and no one remembers. And I remember I met Nick for the first time at their wedding. And I'm in the receiving line to go like congratulate them after the wedding ceremony. And I get up to the front of the line, and Nick, I've never met him, grabs me, gives me this massive bear hug, and he said, "Thank you for finding my wife for me." Like, awesome. And at some point I remember asking him, "Hey, do you remember who sent the first message?" He goes, "What? I don't know." He does not remember. Furthermore, at the wedding, which was really cool, is so then we're in the party. Is that the reception? Party? Whatever. We're at the party, and the guy running it, the DJ, the host, whatever, brings Nick and Isabella up, and he says, "None of this would have been possible without Mike. Mike, can you come up here?" And everyone gave me a round of applause. And then they're like, well, for this marriage to sustain, we're going to need Mike, and we're going to need everyone here to support this marriage. So if everyone can come up to help support Nick and Isabella, that would be great. So we started with me touching Nick and Isabella, and then everyone touched whoever they could back, and we were all connected to now bring and support Nick and Isabella in their life together and make sure they stay the course and continue to be in love and support each other and have a great relationship. So I thought that was really beautiful. Cool. So that was Isabella. And just to give you an update on that, I think that was about 8 years ago. They're still married. There's a chapter of them in my book. So cool. Next story. One of my other favorite clients of all time is Linda. And if you ever want to see Linda, she's a testimonial on my website. So Linda came to me. She was, I want to say like 62, 64 when we first met. And she was divorced, and it was a terrible relationship. She was the breadwinner. She did everything. She did the money, took care of the house, took care of the animals. They had a lot of animals on the property. She did everything. And I remember what endeared me to Linda is we're talking, and she said while she was married, at one point she went to go feed the horses. And she comes back to the front door and tries to get back in the house. And her husband had literally locked her out of the house. And to get back in the house, she went on all fours and went through the doggy door. And it was one of the lowest, worst moments of her life that her husband would lock her out of the house. And at that exact moment, she decided to get divorced. And so she divorced this guy. And, obviously didn't date for a while. And had some walls up after that. And for the last 20, 30 years, she'd been doing everything herself. So she shows up for coaching with me. And, breadwinner, brilliant, great personality. Uh, she's quite a bit overweight. She's 62, and she's like, "Is this possible?" And I wanted to show her that it was, and it may take some hard work. And so we were doing this for a while, and we were also partnered with one of my other coaches, Helena Hart, and eventually we realized that she was unable to receive, and this was really hurting her. So men would be into her, and they'd want to provide. They'd want to like be able to help her out and like do things like even hold the door or like give her a compliment and have her receive it. And she just was incapable of receiving any of their help. They couldn't hold the door. They couldn't pay for things. They couldn't do anything. And they're like, how do I be masculine in this relationship? There wasn't room for it because she was taking over the masculine role. And so Helena worked with her on that and told her, like, life is going to be so much richer when we finally allow a man to do things for you. And you just get to, like, relax and receive. Like, there are good men out there that want to do things for you, but we have to give them space to do it. And so I remember her telling me a story. She met a guy, and they're going, this is her boyfriend at this time, and she's finally learned this like receiving ability. And they go on this hiking date, and he's got the backpack on, he's carrying the waters, he's got the bananas, he's got everything, and he's carrying it all for her. And he's in good shape, and she's, not in as good a shape. But she's like so tough and wants to always, look like the woman who's got it all together. And they hike up this like nice hill, and she's out of breath and he's fine. And finally, like, she lets her guard down and she's like, "I need to take a break." And he said, "Great." And he's like, "Let me get you some water. Let's relax. Here, I got this fruit for you. I've got you." And she looked up at him and was like, "Wow, this is what it could be like. Like, I can receive. A great man can take care of me." So fast forward, and they've been together for, I want to say like 3 or 4 years now, and they're happy as can be. What I also love about this Linda story, to meet this guy ended up taking about 2 years, which is very uncommon. Like, most of my clients meet their person 3 to 4 months in. What I loved about Linda was she was going to persevere no matter what. And at times we were going after guys to date, and it wasn't going well. And what we do also is take breaks. Like, if we weren't getting any traction and she was starting to feel negative emotions about the online dating process or about men, we would take a month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months off, but always coming back to it. And when she felt refreshed and like, "Man, I'm excited to see what else is out there," then we'd get back to it. And ultimately, at some point, that light switch went off and she's like, "I need to allow men to receive, or I need to allow men to give to me, and I need to receive it and be thankful." Once that clicked, and then the perseverance was always there, and she's always been an achiever, then we got this guy to enter her life, and now she's been as happy as can be. All right, that's the stories for today. We'll see you next time.